Hey, it's Adam from Buzzy. I thought I'd share a pre-release of something we've been working on in terms of integrating Miro, collaborative platform, with Buzzy. So Miro is an awesome tool that allows you to create a canvas that allow teams of users to collaborate, anything going right through from the ideation through to the requirements gathering to the design phase. And we want to be able to take all that information as the context and give that to Buzzy to be able to create an application. So for this particular example, we're going to use a local government app, and I'll show you one other example as well. This is a very simple application for allowing citizens to be able to record things like issues. So let's say like an issue type, which might be a pothole or graffiti or something like that. And then you might also have government workers coming in and assigning priorities and assigning those things to go get fixed. Now, for the purpose of the demo, I've kept this pretty simple. We actually use the Miro design tool over here to generate some wireframe screens, which will go into the input. We've also got a specification document which outlines the core functions, the user roles, and some of the data requirements over here, like types of information that you're capturing. And we've actually embedded the end application over here as well, and I'll come back to that in a sec. But this is a full working application, so I can come in and report an issue and use the product right here within the canvas, which is awesome for collaboration. So we've made the integration very easy. So if you just copy this link and come into Buzzy, and I can just over here create this application, and I'm going to give it that Miro board URL. And it will now go and have a look at what's on that board, gather all the information, and pull out things like important screenshots, specifications, things like mood. If I gave it that, I didn't in that example, but it'll pull that all together and pass that along to Buzzy. It's going to Buzzy. The way that it works is it creates what we call an app definition, and that's made up of the product requirements document, or mini PRD. We call it a brief. Um, we then create a blueprint, which is like a sitemap, which is the high-level flow and screens that will be used for your application. And then the design is the actual application itself, and you can use that either using AI or some no-code capabilities. And then we've got the data side of things, which is the underlying database. And then we've got other things as well, like theme or integration with Buzzy functions with external systems. So depending on what you're building, it will put together this app definition. Now, one of the cool things about Buzz, because we've broken things up into these different segments, it allows you to come in back to the Miro board and you can iterate on those things before you even get to generating the app. And you can come back and you can make a change to the things like the brief or the mini PRD or the data model. And again, we could model those things right here within Miro. So it's an awesome collaborative environment that allows you to iterate on things, get things right, and then when ready, you can go ahead and generate something that actually works, with you just using that for a proof of concept, like a working prototype that you're going to test with real users, or going all the way into production. Buzzy is built on top of a fully scalable infrastructure that allows you to do that. So I'm just going to, for the sake of this, we're going to do one shot. Most of the times we don't recommend doing one shot, but obviously if we're going to go through and modify each of these things separately, it would be a much longer demo. So while we're waiting for this application to generate, I'm going to just come back and look at one that I used the same specification to generate previously, and we'll just have a look at how those things work under the covers over here with Buzzy. So again, it's looked at that Miro board, it's come up with a brief, and again, this is stored in the system. The source of truth here is the Miro documents. You don't need to edit it or change it in here, but this is going to be used by Buzzy to be able to pull together a requirement. The underlying blueprint. So this is like a sitemap and your screen flow, and it's where things like navigation and that will be derived from. Also, a low-fi way in terms of what's on the screen and the functionality that exists for that. The design phase, I'll come back to that in a sec. Underlying this is the data model. So depending on how sophisticated the application is, it'll actually draw an entity relationship diagram, but then give you the full CMS to be able to do things like look at each of the data. So you can either create or edit data in here. most of the time you can do that in your application if you've asked for that feature within the application you're building. Now there's the theming information, which is abstracted, so things like branding and colors and that again is abstracted, and again you could have that sitting within the Miro document as well. And then there's also the links. This application is pretty simple. It doesn't have external functions or integration points with backend systems or other external AIs. So we could add that. If we had asked for that, it would have created that as a starting point. Now, if we have a look at the design tab, this is really one of the really cool pieces of functionality within Buzzy. So with Buzzy, you can make changes in one of two ways. So one, you can go into edit mode over here and you can make a change, and you can do it manually if need be. So you can, for those simple changes, instead of using AI to make those changes, it's often much quicker to do something like change a heading or a title or the color or theme in that just by clicking and pointing in that. So the key thing here is you don't have to look at, manage, and understand all the underlying code like you will with a lot of other AI code generation systems. We don't need you to A, understand it, or B, ever have to worry about that, not only from the initial creation, but also from a maintenance perspective. So that's one of the key game changers here. Now you can also, go through and you can use the application in here and edit it, make changes, but you can also select items and you can chat with the AI to make those changes. So obviously if you're changing something like a text thing, it's going to be far quicker and simpler just to change it manually. Just change the title over here. So if I just save that, it'll just be instantly available over there as a change to that application. But if you wanted to make more substantial changes, you can ask the AI to go and do that, which could do anything from changing the underlying database and so on. And again, you can sync that back with the Miro board as well to make sure that you can collaborate on things. And so on. And again, there we can see that change we made to the title over there, that we changed, put the number 1 next to it, that's live. So very, very quick way to be able to do that. I thought I'd show you another application that I created with a board. This was a holiday itinerary planner. Again, we created a simple flow with our Miro AI sidekick, and we then it came up with a set of requirements as well. So for example, smart itinerary generation. So it's interesting to see how Buzzy then interpreted those requirements. So this was like the plan a trip app that we created. And as an example over here, so again, it will have generated everything that we talked about before, like the blueprint, but it's also gone ahead and created some functions to integrate with externally. So for example, the holiday planner, it's going to do an AI generated, so you can go and call an AI maybe to help you plan your trip, generate an itinerary, things like process booking, that might be integration with external services, like if there's other APIs out there, like airlines or whatever, you can integrate that in, and that could be all the way for enterprise applications as well. So again, just wanted to give you a very quick look in terms of how we, this is a very early look at the Miro integration with Buzzy. We see this as an absolute game changer for you to be able to collaborate and then create, whether it be either working prototypes that you can share with your users and get feedback, or go all the way into production with your applications. So thanks a lot for watching. Give us some feedback on this. If you want to have a play with it, please reach out to us and we'll give you access. So again, thanks a lot.